Chapter 31 I gather resources for you, pro-Wang family, I disagree. You are listening at novelfull.audio. TSK, these resources. After Qingge mentioned the resources needed to activate the physique, even someone as strong as Changsheng couldn't help but click his tongue. It's not that the required resources are massive, but most of them are extremely rare divine objects. For example, the transcending tribulation lotus is an 8th grade holy medicine. Just one plant can make even saints envy and fight over it. There are also heavenly tribulation fruits, divine thunder liquid, and the essence of saint-level fierce beasts, and so on. Even for an ordinary person, it would be difficult to gather them in a short time, let alone a saint. Even Qingge, the reborn Empress, would find it challenging to collect these materials, right? After all, her cultivation is too weak. Even if she knows many opportunities, it would still be a painstaking effort to gather them all. Or perhaps, Qingge might choose to die once and directly activate the Myriad Tribulations' indestructible body. However, Changsheng would definitely not choose this method, even if it could save a lot of resources. Don't worry, I'll gather them for you in 3 days. Looking at Qingge, Changsheng said softly, although they are rare, he had wiped out the Myriad beast sect and plundered the sect's tens of thousands of years of heritage. He also had a vast amount of resources, although he lacked several key materials, such as the transcending tribulation lotus and heavenly tribulation fruits. He could exchange them with other forces. As far as he knew, the Wang family possessed a heavenly tribulation fruit tree, which could produce 36 heavenly tribulation fruits every 3,000 years. It wouldn't be excessive to ask for 180 of them, right? However, the transcending tribulation lotus was the real challenge. In the entire true saint continent, only 2 forces were known to possess this holy medicine. One was the towering void sword sect, and the other was the Taisher sect. The Taisher sect could be ruled out. They were the true overlords with a saint king presiding over them. It would definitely be unwise to offend them. The other option was the towering void sword sect. Although they were powerful, they could still be manipulated. If they were willing to exchange, there would be no problem. If not, they could just go and forcefully seize it. With these thoughts in mind, Changsheng's eyes turned cold, and he made a decision in his heart. If it becomes difficult, I can figure it out myself. Qingge also noticed the killing intent emanating from Changsheng and couldn't help but remind him. Don't worry. Changsheng smiled faintly. For now, it would be better to collect other divine objects first, and then consider exchanging for the transcending tribulation lotus with the towering void sword sect. In the next 3 days, Changsheng mobilized the Su family's power and made every effort to gather the resources needed by Qingge. Not only that, but he also demanded the best and more materials, even if it meant spending more resources. Boom! Not only that, Changsheng personally visited the Wang family, his holy aura overwhelming, directly alarming the ancestors of the Wang family. Who? This is the descent of a saint. Changsheng, that the Wang family was shaken. Countless members of the Wang family were shocked, seeing a figure like a divine god stepping into the Wang family. That unparalleled figure immediately recognized by the cultivators of the Wang family. It was none other than Changsheng, the longevity saint who had recently shaken the true saint continent. Oh no, the longevity saint has descended upon the Wang family. Could it be to destroy the Wang family? It's impossible. My Wang family has no grudges with the Su family, and we haven't offended the longevity saint, so it shouldn't be. Don't be afraid, the ancestor of my Wang family is invincible. A group of Wang family members were terrified, each one panicked, afraid that Changsheng's arrival was to destroy the Wang family, but there were also disciples who were full of confidence. So that's Changsheng. Among the Wang family, in the area of the patriarch, a stunning beauty raised her gaze and looked at Changsheng, a hint of astonishment flashing in her beautiful eyes, secretly sighing in her heart. That kind of elegance far surpassed any genius she had ever seen, truly worthy of being a longevity saint. Fame is not as good as meeting in person. Boom. At this moment, deep within the Wang family, within the ancestral land, 2 terrifying figures appeared one after another, emitting a tremendous holy aura, not weaker than the saints of the Myriad beast sect. They were the ancestors of the Wang family. Longevity fellow Taoist, please come in. I apologize for not being able to welcome Longevity fellow Daoist in a timely manner. I hope Longevity fellow Daoist can forgive us. Point two voices shook the heavens and the earth, boom. Then, a golden path extended, dazzling and incomparable, countless visions appeared, brilliant immortal flowers bloomed, and endless light rain fell. It was I who suddenly arrived and disturbed the Wang family. I ask for the forgiveness of the two fellow Taoists. Su Changsheng also chuckled. The saint of the Wang family was polite to him, so he couldn't act arrogantly, boom. Soon, Su Changsheng stepped onto the golden path, his expression calm, and went straight into the ancestral land of the Wang family, not afraid of any ambush or danger. Even if there were any, he could simply overturn everything and kill all the hidden enemies. Before long, the ancestral land of the Wang family fell into silence. The chaotic mist surged, obscuring everything, making it impossible for outsiders to know. A group of Wang family members, including the patriarch, elders, and many supreme elders, all came out and anxiously waited, fearing the outbreak of a great battle. Ha ha ha. Just after about a quarter of an hour, accompanied by laughter, the two Wang family saints appeared together to send Su Changsheng away, talking and laughing. Seeing that the two old ancestors did not conflict with the everlasting saint, the group of Wang family experts breathed a sigh of relief. I didn't expect Su Changsheng to come for the heavenly tribulation fruit. Watching Su Changsheng leave, a Wang family saint suddenly spoke. He looked middle-aged and had a relatively low cultivation level, similar to the Purple Mountain Saint. But I don't understand, Ancestor. Why did you give the entire heavenly tribulation tree to Su Changsheng? That is one of the foundations of our Wang family. The middle-aged man asked in confusion. The heavenly tribulation tree is an 8th grade sacred tree, and the fruit it bears is called the heavenly tribulation fruit. This kind of sacred fruit has a powerful effect, allowing cultivators to safely pass through the heavenly tribulation and absorb its power, enhancing their foundation and strength at the same cultivation level. Although it is only useful for cultivators below the everlasting realm, it can also produce a large number of top law manifestation realm experts, providing great assistance for the birth of the everlasting realm. As a result, the ancestor actually gave it directly to Su Changsheng, which undoubtedly would damage the power of the Wang family and make it difficult to produce a large number of law manifestation realm experts. This made him somewhat puzzled. I don't have much time left. Hearing this, another Wang family saint, an extremely old man, remained calm and shook his head. He was very old and had a high seniority. His name was Wang Shudao, the ancestor of the middle-aged man's lineage, and he was the one who personally cultivated the middle-aged man into a saint. Therefore, even though the middle-aged man was a saint and at the same level, he still respected his ancestor and treated him with great respect. Ancestor. Upon hearing these words, the middle-aged man's heart trembled, and he immediately understood the old man's intention. Once I pass away, you alone won't be able to withstand those two forces. The Wang family may suffer heavy losses. Therefore, the Wang family needs a powerful external support. Su Changsheng is that support. Sacrificing a heavenly tribulation tree is nothing compared to gaining his favor. If it can help the Wang family in the future, then it's worth it. Wang Shudao said softly. Ancestor, I will find longevity materials for you. You don't need to worry so much. The middle-aged man trembled as he spoke. He was a saint, but at this moment, his eyes were unexpectedly red. Foolish child, there's no need for that. I am well aware of my own situation. Ordinary life-extending pills are useless to me, and even the more precious ones, you won't be able to obtain them. Wang Shudao chuckled and shook his head. He was very carefree and not in pain because of the approaching end. Moreover, I won't just accept my fate like this. When the great saint's secret realm that is about to appear in the Demon Burial Valley opens, I will go and challenge it. Wang Shudao said calmly, and the middle-aged man fell silent. He understood that the ancestor had already made all the necessary preparations. I understand. At this moment, the members of the Wang family, including many powerful individuals, were unaware of the conversation between the two saint ancestors. They only looked at them with reverence, only a group of elders furrowed their brows and were filled with worry. At the same time, on the other side, the towering Void Sword Sect, with its continuous peaks, stood tall amidst the clouds, reaching into the sky, majestic and incomparable. Each peak was extremely sharp, emitting a sharp sword aura, like peerless divine swords, revealing their sharpness and containing the essence of the sword path. Among the mountains, there were numerous palaces, like heavenly palaces one after another, magnificent and full of spiritual energy. Waterfalls formed by spiritual energy hung down like the Milky Way in the sky. Between the mountains and palaces, sword cultivators stepped on their spiritual swords, resembling legendary sword saint realm cultivators. This was the headquarters of the towering Void Sword Sect, and also the most powerful sword sect in the true Saint continent. Humph, you want to ask for the Transcending Tribulation Lotus? That's an 8th-grade saint medicine. There's only one in the entire towering Void Sword Sect, and Su Changsheng actually wants to exchange it like this? Daydreaming. In the main hall of the sect, Ling Jian snorted coldly as he looked at the powerful Su family members in front of him, his voice cold and firm. I disagree. Flylu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 32. Just to be disgusted, the Ancestor's realm is really high. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ling Jian's expression was cold and aloof, looking down from a high position. Now that he was in the towering Void Sword Sect, he had regained his former confidence and was no longer afraid of Su Changsheng. After all, no matter how strong Su Changsheng was, could he still attack the towering Void Sword Sect? Ling Jian, the Su family is very sincere. They are willing to pay double the price or 2 8th-grade holy medicines in exchange for the Transcending Tribulation Lotus, that the strong member of the Su family said in a deep voice. He was a peak everlasting realm expert, a guardian bestowed by the system. This time, he came to negotiate. Impossible, go back. The Transcending Tribulation Lotus is the treasure of the towering Void Sword Sect, and I will not entertain any offers, Ling Jian said in a cold tone. Towering Void Sword Sect has already occupied 1/3 of the resources of the Myriad Beast Sect this time. Those resources were left by the longevity Ancestor. The Su family can let it go, and we are willing to pay 3 times the price. How about that? The strong member of the Su family frowned, but continued to argue. Occupied? The territory of the Myriad Beast Sect is not owned by your Su family. Can't the towering Void Sword Sect occupy it? What's more, is the longevity saint so overbearing? Ling Jian's face showed a playful expression, a bit sarcastic. Then, his attitude changed, his eyes became fierce, revealing the aura of a tyrant, and he said. Or is it that the Su family wants to go to war with the towering Void Sword Sect? As the most powerful top force, the towering Void Sword Sect, Ling Jian didn't believe that Su Changsheng would dare to go to war with them for a Transcending Tribulation Lotus. Good, the Su family will remember this. Upon hearing this, the strong member of the Su family glanced deeply at Ling Jian, dropped these words in a cold tone, and then turned and left. Ridiculous, Ling Jian sneered. Remember? Is this a threat to him? Does the towering Void Sword Sect look like a nouveau riche force like the Myriad Beast Sect? During its peak, the towering Void Sword Sect was almost on par with the ancient clans. Reaching that level, even though it had declined quite a bit now, it still had 3 grand saint ancestors and a deep foundation. A mere Su Changsheng was not enough to make him wary. Su Changsheng, humph, Ling Jian muttered, recalling the scene in Heavenly Origin City, feeling resentful and unwilling. He had no grudges with Su Changsheng. If it were another powerful saint from a different faction, he naturally wouldn't target towering Void Sword Sect like this, unnecessarily provoking enemies. But Su Changsheng is different. Su Changsheng is a cultivator from the same era as him. No, he is even a few thousand years older. Moreover, his talent is much stronger than Su Changsheng's. He possesses a sword Dao divine body, and logically speaking, he should have been able to become a saint. However, it is unfortunate that even after more than 7,000 years, he is still stuck at the semi-saint level, unable to take that final step. on the other hand, Su Changsheng succeeded. Not only did he become a saint before him, but his combat power is also extraordinary, annihilating the Myriad beast sect. This fills Ling's sword heart with envy and resentment. The more outstanding Su Changsheng is, the more extraordinary his performance, the more jealous Ling's sword heart becomes. Su Changsheng, although I can't do anything to you, I can still make you feel disgusted. Ling Jian sneered, feeling secretly pleased at the thought of Su Changsheng's angry expression. So what if he's strong? In this world, one still has to consider background and social connections. Oh, by the way, I haven't captured that beautiful girl from the White Cloud dynasty yet. She must have a great secret. At this moment, Ling Jian raised an eyebrow, remembering the encounter with that girl as beautiful as a moonlight elf at the wedding banquet. A hint of greed flashed in his eyes. Intuition told him, the little princess of the White Cloud dynasty has a great secret. If he captures her, it might help him achieve enlightenment. Even if not, her stunning appearance alone is enough to make Ling Jian's heart flutter. It's time to take her down. Humph, a small White Cloud dynasty dares to defy me. Ling Jian muttered to himself, recalling the scene where he was rejected by the White Cloud Ancestor, his gaze turning cold. In these past few days, the reason he didn't immediately destroy the White Cloud dynasty was to seize the territory and resources of the Myriad beast sect. Now that the matter is resolved, it's time to take down Yuege. No time to waste. I will lead our Sect's experts to destroy the White Cloud dynasty. Ling Jian said, getting up and preparing to bring the Sect's powerful individuals to annihilate the White Cloud dynasty. Not so fast. However, shortly after getting up, he hesitated, furrowing his brow and muttering to himself, the White Cloud dynasty is too close to the Su family. It wouldn't be good if I accidentally ran into Su Changsheng. The territory of the White Cloud dynasty is close to the Su family, and the Imperial capital is only 200,000 to 300,000 li away from Heavenly Origin City. For ordinary experts, this distance might be astronomical and incredibly long, but for saint-level experts, it would only take a few breaths to cross. In such a close region, he is very likely to run into Su Changsheng. It should be noted that at the Su family's wedding banquet, he had made a remark that could have been remembered by the other party, not to mention that he had rejected Su Changsheng's exchange conditions. These new grudges and old grievances are added together. If they collide, Su Changsheng might slap him to death. At that time, even if the towering Void Sword sect is strong, it may not offend Su Changsheng for a dead person. No, I have to send my subordinates. It's just an old ancestor of the White Cloud. It shouldn't be a problem to call 2 semi-saints. Ling Jian muttered, as the sect master. Ling Jian has been in charge of the towering Void Sword sect for thousands of years and naturally developed his own large faction with many loyal followers. There are also some semi-saints. Boom. After a while, under Ling Jian's instructions, 3 disguised semi-saints quietly left the towering Void Sword sect and headed to the White Cloud dynasty, Su family. Oh, you mean, Yun Lao Zhu wants to form a marriage alliance with me and marry Yuege to me? In a palace, Su Changsheng sat in the main seat, his face somewhat surprised. Su Yun stood respectfully beside him, very obedient, like a Taoist disciple. Yes, Lao Zhu. Su Yun said respectfully. He continued, it's just that I don't know Lao Zhu's thoughts, so I dare not make a decision for Lao Zhu and haven't directly agreed. Interesting. Su Changsheng rubbed his chin, his expression playful. He thought that Yun Lao Zhu wanted to form a marriage alliance with the younger generation of the Su family, using it as a roundabout way to save the dynasty from destruction, but he didn't expect that the marriage partner would be him. It has to be said that Yun Lao Zhu is very thoughtful and bold, daring to make such a decision and willing to give away a monstrously talented individual. He originally wanted to make a move himself, but unexpectedly, the other party came to him. As for the White Cloud dynasty, a mere tens of thousands of miles of territory, he doesn't care about it, just occupy other domains. After all, the next step for the Su family is to expand outward. At that time, they will use the Myriad beast sect as a springboard and use the excuse to wage war against other top forces. I really thought he would just sit back and watch as Myriad beast sect was divided and plundered by various forces without any reaction. All of these cakes are poisoned. The forces that have made their moves during this period will all be settled with later. Tell him, I agree. Let's set the wedding 3 months from now. Su Changsheng nodded. Yes, I'll take care of it right away. Ziyuan's heart trembled, secretly thinking that it was fortunate he didn't forcefully refuse initially, leaving some room for negotiation. At the same time, he secretly pondered whether to find more top-tier goddesses, fairies, and other such characters for the Ancestor. They must have a divine body or exceptional aptitude to catch my attention. Seemingly seeing through Ziyuan's thoughts, Su Changsheng's faint voice came, divine body. Ziyuan's heart trembled, is this the Ancestor's realm? Indeed, it is profound and unfathomable. It is not something that ordinary mortals like him can aspire to. I understand, sir. Ziyuan respectfully withdrew and went to respond to the message from the White Cloud dynasty. What is this kid thinking about? Su Changsheng saw through the other party's thoughts at a glance, feeling somewhat amused and helpless. The reason he requested a divine body is merely a standard set by the system. However, since he has decided to take this path of marrying and taking concubines, he naturally disdains being secretive. Ancestor, towering void sword sect has rejected your conditions. At this moment, a strong member of the Su family walked in and reported to Su Changsheng. It was the peak expert of the Everlasting Realm who went to negotiate with the towering Void Sword Sect. Flylo's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Activity period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 33 Crying by Yuege, begging brother Changsheng to help. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's going on? Su Changsheng frowned, his gaze sweeping over, according to reason, with the conditions he offered, plus his current power, the towering Void Sword Sect should not refuse. That would anger him, the saint ancestor of the towering Void Sword Sect. Could he be so short-sighted? Although the transcending Tribulation Lotus is rare, in reality, it is not much stronger than other 8th-grade holy medicines. Its value is limited, not worth offending this saint for it, right? It's the Lord of the Sword Sect, Ling Jian, who refused your conditions. His attitude was very tough, the peak powerhouse of the Everlasting Realm said. Ling Jian. I see. Su Changsheng relaxed his brow, remembering this person, who had said a few undermining words to him at the wedding banquet, but at that time, he didn't care, just an envious ant. He didn't even bother to look at him, but now, thinking about it, if it was this person, it would make sense. Towering Void Sword Sect, interesting. It seems that I need to go there in person. Su Changsheng said softly, the towering Void Sword Sect is indeed very powerful, once approaching the level of the ancient clan. Now it has declined, but with the foundation of its sect, it is enough to easily contend against a saint of the 7th heaven, and to annihilate it. Even a normal saint of the 9th heaven may not be able to do it. But does this have anything to do with him? Since it's blocking the way, then just kick it away. Who? Thinking like this, Su Changsheng stood up, his gaze shifting, not erupting with holy power, but his aura permeated, still making it difficult for the peak powerhouse of the Everlasting Realm to breathe. Boom. Without hesitation, Su Changsheng took a step forward, his figure appearing directly above the northern wilderness, his vast aura spreading out like a sun. Just as he was about to head towards the towering Void Sword Sect, his gaze suddenly froze and looked towards the direction of the White Cloud dynasty. Something's happened. Ziyuan raised an eyebrow in surprise. The imperial capital of the White Cloud dynasty is hundreds of thousands of miles away from the Su family, which is a vast distance for an ordinary Everlasting Realm cultivator. Even for an average saint, it is difficult to sense anything in such a remote distance, but Su Changsheng is different. His primordial spirit is very powerful, surpassing those of the same level. He instantly sensed the aura of a semi-saint level battle erupting in the imperial capital. Something has happened in the White Cloud dynasty. Bai Yuege is my second wife candidate. She can't be in danger. Su Changsheng muttered to himself. In the next second, he took a step forward and disappeared from the spot. Boom. 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 At the same time, in the imperial palace of the White Cloud dynasty, this once majestic and magnificent palace, resembling a heavenly palace, has now turned into ruins. There are limbs and arms everywhere, the ground stained with blood. Many powerful members of the royal family have been killed. In the air, the White Cloud Ancestor fought against 3 mysterious semi-saints, burning with the last remnants of his origin power, roaring in anger. Are you strong cultivators from the towering Void Sword Sect? Do you know that my White Cloud dynasty has already established a marriage alliance with the Everlasting Saint? Aren't you afraid of offending the Everlasting Saint? The White Cloud Ancestor angrily shouted, his heart filled with immense anger. His white hair flew chaotically, surrounded by terrifying golden light, and a terrifying divine power surged out. His cloudy eyes were filled with intense and dazzling divine light, as terrifying and blinding as the sun, but even so, he was still no match for the 3 semi-saints, and was beaten to the point of spitting blood. Even his body, which was at the level of a semi-saint grade, was on the verge of being shattered. Humph, a mere semi-saint ant dares to offend our sect master. He deserves to die 1,000 deaths. One of the semi-saints from the towering Void Sword Sect coldly spoke, his tone indifferent. Stop the nonsense, kill him, and then take away that little girl. Another impatient semi-saint said, clang. As the words fell, another semi-saint drew his sword, and the might of a semi-saint erupted. Brilliant sword light slashed through, severing one of the White Cloud Ancestor's arms, causing blood to gush out. Ah, that the White Cloud Ancestor roared in anger. He wanted to fight desperately, but he was too old and his vitality was insufficient. Faced with 3 semi-saints who were no weaker than him, he was simply no match. A useless old fool, that the first to speak was the semi-saint of the towering Void Sword Sect, his tone indifferent. He stepped on the void, his gaze icy, and a terrifying sword aura erupted from within him. Then, step by step, he descended as if stepping on a certain trajectory. He took several steps in succession, and with each step, a horrifying sword light slashed out, a total of 9 sword lights, sharp and world-shaking, capable of cutting through the divine moon and splitting the land for thousands of miles. They caused White Cloud Patriarch to cough up blood and covered his body in wounds. Boom. In the sky, terrifying auras surged and impacted, shaking the entire Imperial capital. Countless cultivators and mortals scattered in fear and panic. At this moment, in the Imperial capital, some took advantage of the chaos to rob and plunder resources, while others indulged in wanton killing and the release of desires. The once mighty army of the dynasty had already collapsed, with many princes and nobles in defeat, and chaos reigned. Grandfather, inside the Imperial city, Yuege was protected by a secret treasure and was not harmed by the aftermath of the Great Saint's attack. However, she couldn't escape and could only shed tears, crying out as she watched White Cloud Patriarch being severely injured and coughing up blood. Why is it like this? Sob, sob. Yuege wept bitterly. She was just a little girl and didn't understand why things had turned out this way. Not long ago, grandfather was still happy, saying that the Eternal Saint had agreed to the marriage alliance. Father, uncle, and a group of elder grandfathers were also excited, saying that the White Cloud dynasty was about to rise and that they would rely on her in the future. She would have to marry that eternal elder in the future. As a result, before everyone could be happy for long, 3 mysterious figures broke in and destroyed the returned palace with a single palm strike. Not only did they severely injure the old ancestor, but they also killed the emperor, the elder grandfather, and others. The current royal family has already been wiped out by more than half, and the only familiar figure, the old ancestor Ziyuan, is now in great danger and not far from death. Woo-woo. Who can help you heir? Yuege cried out, her delicate little face covered in tears, pleading in her sobbing voice. Changsheng, please save the old ancestor. At this moment, she remembered Changsheng, that incredibly handsome saint who was much stronger than the old ancestor. A glimmer of hope suddenly arose, and she shouted loudly. How ridiculous! Changsheng. Just a saint, thousands of miles away. Do you really think he's a god who can know about this place? Humph, don't waste time. This old guy is really troublesome. In the sky, the 3 semi-saints of the Sword Sect who were besieging Yun old ancestor heard this and sneered disdainfully. However, in order to avoid long nights and dreams, they still decided to fight quickly. Boom! As he spoke, a semi-saint of the Sword Sect swung his sword, and the brilliance of the sword illuminated the world. He displayed a powerful divine ability of swordsmanship, intending to kill Patriarch Baiyun in one strike. Woo-woo, Grandpa Patriarch, be careful. Seeing this scene, Yuege felt anxious and cried out. At this moment, a divine light radiated from her body, overflowing with the essence of moonlight, magnificent as if it would transform into a divine moon. Don't worry, I'm here. At this moment, a large hand reached out and gently stroked her hair, speaking in a relaxed tone. It was Su Changsheng. He had rushed here from the Su family, but unfortunately, he was already too late. Changsheng, big brother. Feeling the warmth coming from her forehead, Yuege raised her tearful and enchanting face, staring blankly at Su Changsheng as if she were in a daze. Was she dreaming? Su Changsheng, who had no hope, actually appeared in front of her. Boom! Su Changsheng looked up, his gaze cold and indifferent as he stared at the three semi-saints. A saint-level killing intent permeated the air, instantly causing the three of them to panic and scream in fear. Su Changsheng. How is this possible? Why would you appear here? We are elders of the Towering Void Sword Sect. Please spare us, Saint Changsheng, for the sake of our patriarch. Bang! Before they could finish speaking, Su Changsheng raised his hand and crushed the three semi-saints from a distance, like fireworks exploding, blood splattered. Then, with a wave of his hand, three broken primordial spirits appeared in his palm, astonishingly the three semi-saints. Saint Changsheng, Patriarch Baiyun, who had barely survived in the death realm, revealed a look of joy upon seeing this scene. Flylu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and receive 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Activity period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 35, Ling Jian was crushed to death. Zong retreated. Is Qingge jealous? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom! From the heavens, a giant foot stomped down, intertwining the chains of divine order, unstoppable like a bamboo breaking, crushing all the divine swords underfoot. Countless sword lights shattered, the entire sword formation trembled and shook, then directly collapsed, leaving behind a massive and incomparable gap, pierced through by this foot. Mighty divine power, terrifying aftermath, rapidly swept through with astonishing speed, shattering numerous mountains and palaces. Countless sword sect experts, including many elders, all vomited blood, being forcefully shaken away, their expressions filled with terror. The sect protection formation is broken. A group of supreme elders showed fearful expressions. The sect protection formation of the Towering Void Sword Sect, jointly arranged by the Saint Ancestors, was enough to withstand attacks from the Seventh Heaven Saints, but it was unexpectedly crushed by the attacking enemy with a single foot. Could it be? Is the opponent a powerhouse at the 8th Heaven Saint level? It's Su Changsheng. Ling Jian trembled even more. He had already recognized the voice of the intruder, his face showing a terrified expression. He didn't expect that Su Changsheng not only attacked the Towering Void Sword Sect, but also crushed the sect protection formation with a single foot. This kind of strength is even more terrifying than the Saint Ancestors. Where are the Ancestors? Quickly ask the Ancestors to take action. Hurry, only the Ancestors can stop him. One Supreme Elder after another anxiously said. At this moment, only the Saint Ancestors can confront Su Changsheng. Boom! In the sky, Su Changsheng appeared, his eyes shining brightly, like two suns shining, sweeping across, the fluctuation causing countless experts of the Towering Void Sword Sect to tremble in fear. Clang clang clang, countless precious swords trembled, radiating sword light. Each sword peak also erupted with divine might, wanting to confront him, sword radiance in the billions, intending to shatter heaven, earth, and all things. Boom rumble rumble. Su Changsheng remained indifferent, pressing his hand down, and the light of countless stars scattered, suppressing all the sword energy and restraining the power of sword peak. I found you. Then, his gaze shifted and caught sight of Ling Jian in the distance, who looked extremely terrified. Su Changsheng spoke indifferently. Elder Ancestor, save me. Ling Jian's heart turned cold, and he quickly retreated while shouting. At the same time, he unleashed all his trump cards, including a sacred weapon, in an attempt to resist. Does this have any meaning? Su Changsheng said calmly, extending his hand from afar, crossing through layers of space, shattering all obstacles. With a single grasp, he crushed Ling Jian in his palm. In the desperate look in Ling Jian's eyes, his entire body exploded, leaving behind only a broken primordial spirit. Ancestor. Su Changsheng killed the Ancestor. Why isn't Elder Ancestor taking action? That the elders and geniuses of the Sword Sect witnessed this scene and shouted in anger and grief. Some powerful individuals were also filled with fury. The towering Void Sword Sect had existed for nearly 100,000 years and had never suffered such humiliation. Not only were they attacked by the enemy in their headquarters, but even their ancestor was crushed by a single palm. But at this moment, if Saint Elder Ancestor didn't take action, they wouldn't be able to stop Su Changsheng. Even if more powerful individuals went up, they would be killed with a single finger. Ling Jian is dead. Beside Su Changsheng, Bai Yuege's eyes turned slightly red. She looked at the broken primordial spirit in Su Changsheng's palm with hatred. That was Ling Jian's primordial spirit. Do you see, Yuege? This is strength. As long as you are strong enough, even if they come knocking on your door, you can crush the leader of this sword sect, and they won't dare to say a word. Su Changsheng said calmly, then crushed the primordial spirit in his palm. His voice was not loud, but the cultivators of the towering Void Sword Sect were all strong individuals. Even the disciples had cultivation levels starting from the Qi realm and True Origin realm. Naturally, they could hear his words. At this moment, each of them revealed expressions of grief, humiliation, and hatred. However, no matter how humiliated they felt, they didn't dare to make any moves in front of Saint Su Changsheng. They all lowered their heads, unable to meet his gaze. This is the towering Void Sword Sect, the prestigious #1 sword sect in the true Saint continent. Su Changsheng couldn't help but sneer at the sight, a dignified sword cultivator who doesn't even have the courage to draw his sword against the enemy. It really disappoints him. Fellow Taoist, should this be enough? At this moment, a voice of age and wisdom resounded through the heavens and earth, carrying a hint of sharpness, like an unparalleled divine sword, permeating bone-chilling coldness. Even an ordinary semi-saint would tremble in their primordial spirit. Elder. The group of towering Void Sword Sect experts' eyes lit up. They all eagerly anticipated that the elder would take action and suppress the arrogant Su Changsheng. However, they were disappointed. The elders of the towering Void Sword Sect had no intention of confronting Su Changsheng, or rather, after Su Changsheng stomped through the sect's protective array, they fell into silence. Not enough, I still want the transcending tribulation lotus. Su Changsheng said coldly. Originally, he was willing to exchange double the resources, but since the towering Void Sword Sect didn't give him face, he wouldn't blame himself for personally coming to take it. Moreover, he didn't believe that the saint elders of the towering Void Sword Sect were unaware of Ling Jian's actions. This was likely their tacit approval. In the ancestral land, the aged voice fell silent. There, sword light intertwined, mist surged, as if a supreme being was in a deep slumber. Good. Finally, a voice rang out, followed by a beam of light that landed in front of Su Changsheng. It was a divine lotus, about the height of a person and 3 meters wide, radiating dazzling purple light, surrounded by thunderous lightning and rolling calamitous clouds. As if undergoing transcending tribulation, it appeared extraordinary and divine. So beautiful. Bai Yuege beside him looked curious, her watery eyes blinking with some fondness. Not bad. Su Changsheng nodded. This was indeed the transcending tribulation lotus, and the other party did not deceive him. Since that's the case, fellow Taoists of the towering Void Sword Sect, I bid you farewell. Su Changsheng smiled and then left with Bai Yuege, leaving behind a group of angry and humiliated experts from the Sword Sect. They didn't understand why the sect's patriarch would just watch indifferently as Su Changsheng showed off his might. The towering Void Sword Sect was attacked by a heavenly demon saint, and the master of the Sword Sect, Ling Jian, exhausted his strength and perished while trying to repel the enemy. That is the truth of today. No disciple is allowed to discuss or leak this information. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. A cold voice sounded, and it was none other than the towering Void Sword Sect Saint Patriarch. Yes. Although the crowd was angry and puzzled, they dared not disobey the patriarch's command and responded one after another. Su Changsheng's strength surpasses our imagination. He is at least on par with the 8th heaven, or even the 9th heaven. The towering Void Sword Sect cannot afford to provoke him. Even if we fight with all our might, we may not win and could even face the danger of annihilation. Let it be. This time, we'll remember it. The future is uncertain, and it remains to be seen who will have the last laugh. It all depends on who falls first. Not long after, within the ancestral land of the towering Void Sword Sect, several indifferent voices consecutively resounded, totaling 4 voices in total. If outsiders were to know, they would surely be greatly shocked. The towering Void Sword Sect actually concealed its strength, not with 3 saints, but with 4 saints. Moreover, even with 4 saints, they still might not be able to contend against Su Changsheng. On the other side, at the Su family, the resources are ready. In front of Qingge, Su Changsheng arrived with Bai Yuege, a smile on his lips as he handed over the collected resources to her. Who is she? However, Qingge paid no attention to the resources and instead looked sharply at Bai Yuege beside her, her gaze containing a hint of jealousy. Is Qingge feeling jealous? Su Changsheng was suddenly taken aback. Flylu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards for readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 36 Qingge is jealous. Myriad Tribulations battle art comparable to the Emperor's SCR. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The dignified Empress, would she also get jealous? Su Changsheng rubbed his chin, his eyes looking somewhat strange. But this was also a good thing. It proved that Qingge was gradually accepting him. Sister, hello, my name is Bai Yuege. Bai Yuege timidly said from the side, feeling a bit scared of this older sister who was around the same age but clearly had a lot of authority. A pure person. Qingge frowned slightly, scanning her for a moment before muttering to herself and retracting her gaze. She knew that the girl in front of her was an extremely rare individual, with a mind as pure as water, incredibly innocent. The reason she was by Su Changsheng's side was probably because he had lured her over. Let me introduce you, she is Qingge, she will be your sister from now on, and she is Bai Yuege, your younger sister. Su Changsheng chuckled lightly at this point, introducing the two of them, sisters. Qingge's gaze turned cold, and there was a hint of disdain in her eyes as she looked at Su Changsheng. I didn't expect the dignified Saint Changsheng to have such a taste, Qingge sarcastically remarked, so it turns out they are around the same age, but that bastard Su Changsheng still managed to take her forcefully. Now it seems that he probably has a certain preference in that aspect. Wife, it hasn't been long, and you already want to get beaten again, don't you? Su Changsheng naturally sensed the meaning behind her words and couldn't help but laugh. Is she provoking him? The next second, Qingge exclaimed, her whole person being lifted up by Su Changsheng and taken straight into the room, leaving behind a dumbfounded Bai Yuege. She didn't understand what was going on. Su Changsheng, you, don't, sob. Soon, Bai Yuege, who was still a bit dazed, blushed red, her clear eyes turning into circles, feeling shy and embarrassed in her heart. They actually. Su Changsheng, you bastard. One day later, Qingge leaned against the wall, her eyes red and trembling as she walked out of the room, grinding her teeth. I will kill you sooner or later. Just the thought of being ravaged to the point of crying made Qingge feel indignant and sorrowful. Was she going to be controlled by Su Changsheng for the rest of her life? Sister, are you okay? I heard you crying for a long time. Brother Changsheng was saying something about playing the flute inside, but why didn't I hear any sound of a flute? At this moment, a concerned voice came, freezing Qingge's face. She stiffened her face and, with some difficulty, looked up to see Bai Yuege looking at her with a concerned expression, her pure beautiful eyes filled with curiosity about the unknown. Qingge. Bai Yuege had actually been here for a whole day. Does that mean she cried all day, and all her pleading in between was heard by Bai Yuege? Qingge's vision went black, and the thought of her entire image collapsing made her feel a desire to destroy everything. You will understand this kind of thing in the future. There's no need to rush now. From behind, Su Changsheng walked out. His face was clear and refreshed. Seeing Qingge's face turning black, he couldn't bear it and spoke up to defuse the situation. Anyway, by the time of the wedding, Yuege would also understand the principles behind it. Oh, Yuege nodded adorably, she now unconditionally believed Su Changsheng's words. Humph, seeing Su Changsheng appear, Qingge snorted, as if she had thought of her own ugliness. Her gaze turned cold, with a sharp edge, sweeping towards Su Changsheng. Like a sharp blade, it sent chills down one's spine, but all of this had no effect on Su Changsheng. He had already seen through the Empress's fierce appearance, although she appeared prickly on the outside, she was actually soft on the inside. As long as he could break through forcefully, she would be at his mercy, easily ravaged. Alright, next I should help you activate your physique. You don't want to stay in the Qi Si realm forever, do you? Su Changsheng smiled and did not continue to tease her. Upon hearing this, Qingge fell silent for a moment, then turned her head and whispered softly. Thank you. Her voice was very faint, but Su Changsheng still heard it clearly and smiled slightly. Indeed, she was a proud person. In the following time, Su Changsheng prepared to take action and personally activate Qingge's physique. For this purpose, Qingge taught him a battle technique, which was exactly what was needed to activate the Myriad Tribulations Immortal physique. The brilliance of this battle technique shocked Su Changsheng. This is something I researched in my previous life, and it is also a powerful secret technique for battle. Seeing Su Changsheng's shocked expression, Qingge's lips curled up, somewhat pleased and proud. In her previous life as the Empress of Myriad Tribulations, she had unparalleled talent and created countless secret techniques. But the one she taught Su Changsheng was among the top-grade ones. It is indeed amazing. You truly are an unparalleled wife, my dear. Seeing this, Su Changsheng was not stingy with his praise. It had to be said that the secret technique Qingge taught him was indeed powerful. It was called the Myriad Tribulations battle art. It was a top-notch martial art, different from the 9 Tribulations secret codex, but its level of sophistication was no less. Moreover, this battle technique, not only was it a top-notch combat secret technique, but it was also a cultivation technique that could completely replace his Starfall scripture. Its value was no less than that of an Imperial scripture. He speculated that Qingge intentionally taught it to him. Was this her way of repaying him? Su Changsheng pondered in his heart. In his opinion, this should be Qingge's way of repaying him for the resources he had collected. This proud empress did not want to owe anyone, even if the recipient was her husband. It's really interesting. Su Changsheng had a smile on his lips as he looked at Qingge with a hint of doting in his eyes. What kind of look is that? Qingge's heart turned cold, feeling uncomfortable under Su Changsheng's gaze, and immediately stared back with a cold glare. It's nothing. Let's begin. Su Changsheng chuckled lightly, and soon his expression became serious, with a tremendous holy aura emanating from him. Boom. Su Changsheng waved his hand, and a magnificent temple appeared. It was the temple that he had received as a reward from the system, which he used as the venue for the wedding banquet. It had the power of a saint-level explosion. Boom. The temple appeared and quickly shrank into an ordinary palace. Then, Su Changsheng and the others entered it to prevent any anomalies from occurring and alerting others. The Myriad Tribulations Indestructible body is the highest level of sacred body. Once activated and restored, the anomalies it produces can at least shake the land of several continents. It may even affect the divine realm and alarm countless powerful beings. By then, even a great saint would descend, which Su Changsheng currently couldn't contend with, so he naturally had to be cautious. Boom. Su Changsheng waved his hand again and set up the ancestral protection formation given by the system. Then, under Qingge's guidance, he successively set up many heaven-defying formations. Each formation's intricacy far surpassed the same level holy formations and could conceal heavenly secrets and cover up many anomalies. Finally, everything was ready, including various resources, all of which were brought out. Splash! In this palace, Su Changsheng, Qingge, and Yuege stood separately. Various resources were scattered throughout the main hall, shining with divine light, exuding essence, and surrounded by immortal mist. It was as if they had entered a fairyland, magnificent and beautiful. Let's begin. Su Changsheng said solemnly, Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now, promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 39 Everlasting Imperial Court, Daughter of Destiny Su Ziyuan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ancestor, the Su family wants to elevate to a top-tier power and needs the permission of the Everlasting Imperial Court. Should we formally apply for evaluation? A month after the grand wedding, Ziyuan approached Su Changsheng to report. After this period of development, the Su family not only occupied a portion of the Myriad beast sect's territory, but their influence also skyrocketed. They subjugated many forces and attracted numerous powerful individuals. Currently, the Su family has a multitude of experts, with nearly 100 in the everlasting realm and several thousand in the law manifestation realm, surpassing many top-tier powers in the true Saint continent. It can be said that, apart from the Saints, the overall strength of the Su family has surpassed many top-tier powers in the true Saint continent. This standard fully satisfies the requirements to become a top-tier power, but there is still a hurdle they cannot bypass, which is the Everlasting Imperial Court. The Everlasting Imperial Court, it is a terrifying force that rules over countless divine domains, one of the overlords of the everlasting heaven realm. It is extremely powerful and a true emperor-grade power, founded by the immortal great emperor. All the countless forces under its command must abide by the rules of the Everlasting Imperial Court. To elevate to a higher power, not only must the corresponding conditions be met, but also an evaluation by the Everlasting Imperial Court is required. The Su family only lacks one evaluation to become a true top-tier power. The Imperial Court. Su Changsheng fell into contemplation. Back when he roamed the true Saint continent, he had also interacted with the powerful individuals of the Everlasting Imperial Court. This force is terrifying. If the Su family wants to become an emperor clan, the Everlasting Imperial Court is an insurmountable obstacle. Of course, that is something to consider in the future. For now, the Everlasting Imperial Court is an unbeatable behemoth for the Su family, and they simply cannot afford to provoke it. Since they cannot afford to provoke it, they can temporarily conform to the rules and abide by them. Then let's apply. I believe the Imperial Court won't make things difficult for a small Su family. Su Changsheng nodded. Yes, Ancestor. Su Yun's expression showed a hint of joy. The Su family's elevation to a top-tier power was a matter of pride and excitement for him as the family head. Soon, Ziyuan bowed and left. It's been a month, and the moon still hasn't gotten pregnant. It seems that Qingge will take a long time to conceive. Looks like I'll have to continue trying or take new wives and concubines. Su Changsheng tapped lightly on the table, his eyes flickering. With his current cultivation level, and considering that his wives and concubines are at least at the divine body level, having a child is not a simple matter. If luck is not on their side, it's possible that they won't be able to conceive for many years, let alone just 1 or 2 months. If they want to have a child quickly, they can only focus on new wives and concubines, casting a wide net to increase their chances. It's not easy to find someone with a divine body aptitude. Su Changsheng sighed lightly. Divine bodies are extremely rare. In a vast continent with countless living beings, the number of divine bodies can be counted on one's fingers, and most of them are male, with very few females. Finding one is extremely difficult, even if they don't limit themselves to physique. There are also very few with exceptional aptitude. It's impossible in the short term. Oh right, the Su family still has a heavenly destiny daughter. I've been so busy lately that I almost forgot about her. Su Changsheng's mind stirred as he remembered Su Ziyuan, a girl with a destiny comparable to Qingge's, and even more astonishing than by Yuege. However, she has the Su surname and shares the same bloodline, which makes Su Changsheng feel somewhat conflicted. Whatever, let's meet her first. Su Changsheng sighed inwardly. If she's a good match, what does it matter if she's surnamed Su? He had already taken the heavenly destiny Empress, so having one more surname Su wouldn't make a difference. Buzz. With these thoughts in mind, Su Changsheng tapped lightly with his fingers, and the next moment, his figure disappeared from the original location. Heavenly Origin City, spanning thousands of miles, is an extremely vast territory, almost like a small dynasty. As the ruling family, the Su family occupies nearly one-third of the city, which is their ancestral land. In this vast ancestral land, there are an astonishing number of Su family members, and on the outskirts of the Su family's territory. Inside a not-so-spacious palace, a beautiful and determined-looking young girl opened her eyes, her delicate face showing a bitter expression. My cultivation power has disappeared again. It's been 3 years, and there's still no progress. How infuriating. If things continue like this, how can I ensure that my parents' memorial tablets are placed in the ancestral hall? That the beautiful girl clenched her fist, her delicate face filled with unwillingness and bitterness. Her name is Su Ziyuan, she is a disciple of the 9th branch of the Su family, and is about to be transferred to a collateral branch. Her status and position within the Su family are not high. Her parents were also Su family members who were not highly regarded. Their cultivation level was only at the divine ability realm, but they still had some status and resources. However, 3 years ago, her parents died in an attack by the Gu family. After their deaths, her status greatly declined and her resources were greatly reduced. If that was all, it would have been fine. Perhaps it was because the death of her parents had a great impact on her. In her subsequent cultivation, her cultivation level not only did not progress at all, but instead became weaker and regressed rapidly. In just 3 years, she went from being a genius at the true origin realm to only the first level of the Qi Si. No matter how she cultivated, the cultivation power nurtured in her Qi Si would inexplicably disappear. This made Su Ziyuan extremely distressed, because if things continued like this, she would be expelled from the main branch and become a disciple of a collateral branch. The Su family does not tolerate useless individuals. Even if one is a disciple of the main branch, they can still be demoted to a collateral branch, and disciples of collateral branches would be driven out of Heavenly Origin City to guard industries in remote areas. If luck was bad, they might even be sent to some harsh and difficult places. Su Ziyuan was not afraid of hardship, but if she fell to become a disciple of a collateral branch, her parents' memorial tablets would not be able to enter the ancestral hall. This was not something she wanted to see. There is still time. As long as our family can make it into the top 10 in the clan competition, or break through the celestial human realm, we can enter the ancestral shrine. Su Ziyuan clenched her small fist and muttered to herself, there are still 3 years left until the clan competition. As long as she works hard, she still has a chance. Even though it is very slim, she must succeed. I should go and collect the resources for the next week. Su Ziyuan stood up, rubbed her slightly sore body, and walked out of the palace towards another location. The Su family is very large, and to avoid trouble for some lower-ranking disciples when collecting resources, the Su family's resource halls are divided into many branches located around the lower-ranking disciples. There is a resource hall near Su Ziyuan. Why are there only 10 spirit stones this time? Su Ziyuan was stunned as she looked at the 10 spirit stones she received. There are many types of resources for cultivators, but the most common ones are spirit stones and the more precious sources. Both of these can provide cultivators with a quick absorption of spiritual energy, but the value of sources is 1,000 times that of spirit stones. In the past, she had 100 spirit stones and could even receive an extra small piece of source every month, but this time, there are only 10 spirit stones. 10 spirit stones are not even enough for basic daily cultivation, let alone rapid progress. It would be impossible for her to enter the top 10 in the clan competition in 3 years, and it would be difficult for her to break through the true origin realm. Su Ziyuan, your performance has already been very low. It's already good enough to give you resources. The person in charge of the resource hall frowned. Don't forget, not only has your cultivation not improved, but it has also been regressing. You're almost falling out of the Qi Si realm. You know, the Su family doesn't raise useless people. This is the order of the patriarch. Unless something unexpected happens, in a week, you will become a peripheral disciple. That he shook his head and said. Upon hearing this, Su Ziyuan's face turned pale, and even her breathing became difficult. Flyla's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards for readers. Get 500 VIP points for every 100 recharge. Grab it now. Activity period, August 10th to August 20th.